Yeah. Talk
Morning,
amongst
everybody.
yourselves.
It's the 19th of January. We are Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm joined by Ian Coleman and Steve O'Hare. Morning, gents.
Morning, all.
Morning.
Everybody all right?
All good
All
in the
good.
hood.
Thank you.
Excellent. Good. Okay, let's get straight on to it then. So, big news today. It's Citizen Trump's last full day in the job.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
Packing his bags.
He's not doing any of his pardons anymore, is he?
Apparently not, no. So there was speculation that he was going to give himself and those closest to him some preemptive pardons, but that appears to have been squashed as a rumour. His approval rating dropped to the lowest point of a presidency ever, I believe, since the poll began, the Gallup poll began. So obviously still very polarised views with regards to him and his views, but end of an era there today.
Wow.
As the new man takes charge tomorrow.
I like the fact he's got a separate rally going on tomorrow.
Yes, he's not attending the inauguration. He's doing his own thing.
He's got a separate party. Fuck you. I'm off.
Yeah.
Will the cameras be strategically placed so that it looks like there's millions there?
Oh, I'd have
Yeah.
thought so. Yeah.
Leaving party.
Yeah, nice one, Trump.
Don't
Yeah.
like the leaving party.
So the dollar edged lower yesterday because there's news that Janet Yellen's confirmation of becoming the US Treasury Secretary is, well, we're expecting more measures to help the economy, and obviously the dollar then took a bit of a dip off the back of that. She's got an appearance today, I believe.
Yeah, she's getting sworn in today. First woman ever to take on the role.
And she's expected to act big with regards to a coronavirus relief package. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that. But that's a big progressive step forward, a woman sitting in that role. So congratulations to her. Anything else you guys have seen on the news of any interest today?
Just on that, it just seems to be that women are much better at the more difficult jobs. So
maybe we need to get a bird in then.
We have got.
Can I say bird?
We have got a woman in, Ian.
We've got a wonderful woman in.
Yeah, Mona is one of our top analysts. So we'll get her on.
We need more.
Yeah, we need more. That's
more.
it. Yes, yeah. But yeah, fantastic. Good news.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to some charts and have a look at what happened yesterday in the markets. Obviously, it was a quieter day because of the US holiday yesterday. Was that reflected in the charts, gents?
Well, I'm just going through the indices this morning, and as you can see, yesterday we had this nice little rally up. This is a DAX in the 1 hour chart. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So here we are this week. We had a nice big rally. Fantastic, everyone thinks. And then look in the last hour, we've had a bit of a turnaround, 80 tick turnaround. But the interesting one is on the 4 hour chart. Now this downward trending resistance line was drawn in from these 2 points. And this gives us a point where we said yesterday, I think on the show, I said 13,960 will be a point of resistance above. And it's almost hit it to the pip and reversed sharply lower over the last 4 hours. Now this candle finishes at 10 o'clock, so we've got a little way to go, but this is an evening star formation. Let me just kind of paint it in just here. That's a very negative formation if that is to close down there, and I'd expect to see the market move lower from that. Seeing the same in the CAC, you can see this formation here. This is on the 4 hour chart, remember. So the daily chart left us with obviously a positive day yesterday, sort of a bullish inside day yesterday, but obviously the reaction this morning, we've got off to a negative start, and that lines up with the weekly chart, which obviously has bearish candles on it. So as I was saying yesterday, equities felt a little bit weak based on the weekly chart. And maybe we're seeing the move today turn around Tuesday. Who knows? It's Tuesday, isn't it? I think I'm right with that. Yeah. It's nice to get one thing right in the morning. And then we move on to the US. Again, a slightly positive day yesterday. This is followed through this morning in the Dow. We haven't seen the negativity that we're seeing in the European markets, but we're still sort of looking at the Nasdaq and this bullish channel, this supportive bullish trend channel here. We've broken below that channel there, but we've still got to sort of get below 12,466 before I'm convinced that this is moving lower. And yeah, you'll get positive US rhetoric maybe today, or will you get the guns coming out? Who knows? It's all a bit of a wait and see what happens there. Aussie 200 negative yesterday, and it's really sort of not doing a lot over the last few weeks in this sort of like sideways channel, waiting for a move like we were before, but obviously momentum is stalling, looking like we could get a crossover on the MACD if this sideways negative momentum continues. How's the Hang Seng done? Because that was on the weekly chart.
One of them flew overnight, didn't they? Was it?
Yeah.
China.
The Hang might be the Hang Seng. I mean, that had a great big pop overnight. China didn't.
No.
And Nikkei had a little bit of a move higher. So positive news in the equity overnight, but we're seeing that sort of like turning around this morning. On the commodity front, looking at gold, we saw some interesting stuff going on in gold yesterday or overnight on Sunday when we saw the spike down, but that has turned into a bullish hammer, and we're seeing a positive move this morning. But we still got resistance above in the form of the Ichimoku cloud, and horizontal resistance coming in at $1,864. On the silver, we've got that same sort of resistance, but it on the daily chart is still above the Ichimoku cloud, so it's a bit more positive for silver, but resistance sitting at 25.85 after we touched the $24 level, trading now at 25.22. Oil, we saw a big turnaround in oil on Friday, bearish outside day and muted day yesterday, muted session, and today we've seen a little bit of a move up, but we're facing some hourly Ichimoku cloud resistance. 4-hour chart remains above it, so still in an upward bullish trend, but just trying to punch through this 52.80 level. That'll open up a little bit more to the upside if we get that on the WTI crude oil. That's me.
Lovely. Thank you, Steve. Ian, need you to share your screen.
I didn't want to.
No.
He's embarrassed. He's embarrassed to share it.
Embarrassed. I'm a bit clueless, actually, so I'd be the first to admit it. I think what I've got to try and work out at the moment is whether or not this dollar move is corrective or impulsive. Steve would definitely say it's corrective because he's a massive dollar bear. But sort of when we look, I think you've got to break down to bigger sort of time frames. So this is this monthly chart, and even if this is an ABC, we've clearly broke this this trend line resistance, or sorry, support now becomes resistance, and this looks like a free wave pattern to the downside. So normally with free wave patterns, we have to break the low, so we get an AB equals CD formation, which would target just below these previous swing lows that we saw in January. So is this little move now, is it corrective? And if we look to sort of time frames here, we've got a 161.8% fib here. Okay, so it's taken off this leg, but that would suggest it's corrective. But we have got sort of mixed signals. So we've got a morning doji star here, but then when we go up to these time frames, these inside legs are all made of free waves. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and that normally highlights that they're corrective. Just the scope of this downward move, I wouldn't say that the correction is finished, but this is what I thought might happen to get the first leg out of the way. So 1, 2, and then up here in 3. But inside legs, or these corrective legs, are renowned as being very hard to decipher. What we're looking for, I'm looking for a channel. And I think we might end up with this instead. So this being the left shoulder, coming down to the right shoulder, then up in 3, down in 3, up in 3, and then down in 3 to form a right shoulder that then takes us higher in the next leg. So this would be then, in a bigger picture, this would be the first leg, second leg, and then third leg higher to finish up here somewhere. And reflecting that back onto majors, and it's all a bit of a sort of mixed picture. Is this, and again going into big time frames, is this the completion of a 5-wave pattern at an 88.6% pullback level? Well, that remains to be seen. But if you go to the sort of the monthly chart, this euro dollar chart would say that we're definitely still going to get weaker dollars, and that the target level really for euro against the US dollar is up here at 132.15, and that would mean that this move now is just a mild corrective leg, maybe down to around here 116, or where we've got quite pivotal sort of levels before the next leg higher. And if you look to this time frame, and this is when I'm saying I'm just going to waffle crap for 15 minutes. If you look at this time frame, it's hit this 38.2% pullback level of this last rally, which is a common fib level for corrective sequences, is what I'm trying to say. So there's nothing to sort of say that this choppiness isn't going to continue. I think we're probably going to rise a bit higher with dollar weakness today, but then at some point that's going to get sold into and we're going to reverse down. And I think the one wedge formation in cable, but we haven't broken the wedge. So are we going to move higher towards sort of maybe even higher highs as that dollar moves lower? But I think dollar Swiss is probably the best one to look at, or even potentially play this dollar correction. We've got a 261.8% fib here, and this might mirror what we potentially see in the dollar index. So left shoulder, head, 261.8%, and then come lower in a choppy 3-wave sequence to get towards 88.28 to form a right shoulder for the next leg higher. And that sort of also, when we looked at this and said, well, this is quite a strong move up now in dollar CAD, but if you put a fib retracement on that leg, it's made to 78.6. The common retracement level for cipher patterns is 78.6 and 88.6. So unless it can break really into new highs, then this could get down to here. And I've put this on here. So 125.04 is a 161.8% extension of this leg, which makes a cipher pattern. And in a weekly time frame, it's a 261.8% fib. So everything's sort of throwing out different patterns or formations at the moment. I mean, I really liked Aussie dollar. I thought Aussie dollar, Aussie yen looked decisively lower as far as wave patterns and chart formations are concerned, but that's just starting to tick up, and I'm wondering whether or not we are going to get higher highs in Aussie dollar. I'll show you Aussie yen. And again, with this, I thought there must have been some news out overnight to push it higher. This is a weekly chart, 261.8% at 80.58, but inside week last week, this week we're seeing dips being bought into. And if we go to this time frame, I was projecting these lower, but this again is 3-wave pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is this going to go up in 3 before we get the next leg lower? So these formations that we're in at the moment, I believe, let's just put a retracement on there. So again, that's 38.2. So really the levels, if you're trying to get short of these pairs at the moment, you've got to be looking up here at these 78.6 and 88.6 fibs to give you decent risk reward. Stop above the high, and then you target symmetrical patterns to the downside, because at the moment they're looking corrective, and this one could be quite a good one if you catch it, because if it stops at 38.2, then potentially the extension is 361.8. So you look for these 161.8% extension of this leg, and then you look for the extension of this leg, and that's down there. So that one on a rally, not at current price levels, offers quite good risk reward. But again, because it's 261.8% is coming off, these legs probably aren't going to be straight legs, and they're going to be quite choppy. I think that's me. I think I've waffled enough.
That is great. Thank you, mate. Okay, lovely. So let's have a look at guns ahead from yesterday. Not much to speak of. Obviously, as we touched upon, it was a quieter session, so there wasn't a lot of follow through in the markets that we decided to play on the day, which meant poor returns, really. We had 3 trades, so I went short of gold, Steve went short of Nasdaq, Ian went short of Aussie New Zealand dollar, and they were all losers come 9 o'clock, but not dramatic. So all in all, 1.12R on the sesh.
I think Nasdaq was stopped out.
Was it?
Let me just double check.
It was a short session because of the US holiday.
I think my stop was at 12,823. It traded to 12,824.5 around about 11, between 11 and 12.
Okay. Well, thanks for your honesty, Steve. That's unfortunately stopped out. So 1.65 are down on the session yesterday. I'm feeling a bit better about today. Looking at the charts from my own perspective, I think there's a few top patterns potentially forming. I've been saying that for a while though, but just a quick take and I'll run into my trade for today. I'm looking at DAX, potentially a head and shoulders there. This is only the hourly chart. Obviously further to what Stephen mentioned, a failure, that downtrend there. I've talked about it a couple of times about Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. Potentially a top pattern forming there. I think if it breaks those lows there, then I'd be a lot more encouraged by it. Potentially an outside candle forming as well on the 4 hour. The one I really like though is New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I've got a neat looking top pattern that's formed there. We've seen a break of the neckline and a little bit of a retest here, posted by followed by a nasty looking candle. So I'm going to sell that now at 71.18. I'm going to put a stop just above the high. It's not ideal. Ideally, you'd have it above this this neckline, but I'm just going to go with that. The measured move of the head and shoulders comes down at 69.77. So looking for just over 5R on that today.
Lovely.
Nice one.
So yeah, that's my trade for the day. Fingers crossed. What you guys got? Anything interesting?
Well, I'm going to go with the DAX that you mentioned. I think really I'd prefer to sell it up here around about where we've just sort of like dropped from, but obviously we can't do that, so I'll have to get short here, 13,882, and target a move to down here to make the risk reward nice. Actually the stop could be a little bit I could make the stop a little bit tighter, just above the highs, and that'll make the well, if we're really going to go for the intraday trade, potentially really targeting a move to, I have to make it 13 because that's my level. Yeah, just about 2 to 1, just above 2 to 1. Yeah, stop at 13,965, getting short at 13,882, targeting 13,713. That's my DAX.
Lovely.
Superb. Good luck.
Sounds like we're all a bit risk-offy today, are we?
Yeah, I think so. About time, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. This was the ending wedge that I spoke about yesterday morning, and it did break the wedge, and it looked quite solid, obviously, when it was down here. And then, obviously, it's a bit of good news overnight, and it's rallied back up. But on this 1 hour chart, I think we're making an evening doji star. It's got to close down around here. It's got 50 odd minutes. 108.11 would be nice to get a close there. But what I still like about this is all these confluence areas. So this is a 61.8% fib, and here we're just poking our head above the 261.8% fib at 108.13. So I'm still looking for weakness in Aussie New Zealand, and if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Right. Nice.
And I'm going to go for Whopper R, because obviously if it takes out the high of that candle, then that's done, isn't it? That formation's finished. So I'm going to go 108.15 short, 108.24 as a stop, and 107.63 as a target, about 6.5 hour.
Lovely. That's pretty Whopperish if it comes in.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, good luck today, gents. I'm feeling good about it today. I think we're going to start to see a bit of turnaround, and that's going to help us out catch some of these big moves. So the earnings season kicked off pretty much last week, but today we've got some big names, including Netflix, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and Halliburton, all reporting their numbers. On the economic front, we've got the German ZEW out at 10 a.m., which is the economic sentiment reading for Germany. So we're expecting the index to rise to 60 from 55. So keep an eye out for that if you've got any euro positions or indice positions in Europe. Anything else to add, gents?
Apart from Yellen's swearing in jobby, that's at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
And potential for fireworks when Trump leaves, maybe.
Yeah, and then a lot of cable inflation figures from UK early tomorrow morning before we're on air at 7 a.m. CPI.
Right.
And you've got China's interest rate decision overnight at 1:30 in the morning.
Okay, so plenty of catalysts around for things to change. I mean, obviously we know equities are very bullish overall, but I can't help feel they're due a decent bit of a pullback. So let's see what happens.
And there's another thing that's out at 9 o'clock, which is on the Bloomberg email this morning. I'm not quite sure. I need to read up about it, but it's the ECB bank lending survey. But they were talking about in the email this morning. The EU, meanwhile, is due to unveil its plan to strengthen the international role of the euro. What does that mean? Need to find out anyway.
Devalue it so it's more competitive.
Don't know, but it's a plan that's due to be unveiled today. So,
okay,
need to find out what it is.
Right, we'll keep an eye out for that then.
Just an interesting headline out of Iran. They're facing smog and blackouts, and who do you think they are blaming?
Trump?
No.
China?
The illegal Bitcoin mining.
Ah.
So Iran authorities have blamed a novel culprit for rolling blackouts and heavy smog in major cities this winter, illegal cryptocurrency mining, which has obviously gone through the roof because the value of Bitcoin has gone through the roof. So they've had to do it legally because they passed a law allocating a subsidized amount of electric, and people are bypassing that and doing it illegally. Naughty.
Very interesting.
Mm.
Okay, great. Let's wrap it up there, gents. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.
Enjoy.
Excellent.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.